Hello. Oh. Hello, 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 hello. This should be okay. Hello everyone, sorry. I recently got a new microphone because my last one died, so I might have forgotten to set it up on the OBS. So, good evening everyone, sorry about that. I was just saying about when I was fiddling with my camera that last stream, there was a crosshair. And I only noticed when I watched it back, so no one bothered to tell me last stream. So I died a little inside every time I was showing you how to do something, especially when they're glazing. And there was this massive crosshair covering everything. So that was frustrating. So let's try this again. Hello everyone. Can everybody hear me? Good, we have sound. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, a new microphone, so I just forgot to tell OBS that to use it. So Edward, hello, welcome to the stream, good to see ya. Igrim, hello folks, just finished my blade champion, so went out and got a box of blade guard to keep the roll going. What chapter are you painting on? And I hope you use my tutorial. I already did this, by the way, muted, so I'm just repeating what I said. Michael, are you after the new Deathwatch models? No, not at the moment. I don't like to buy box sets of stuff. So if I do, the Necron team looks amazing, and the Deathwatch as well. So I'll probably sort them out when they come out individually next year. So it seems like everybody's getting them. Edward, you're painting while doing, I'm going to assume that's meant to be Khorne Berserkers. I do like the Khorne Berserkers. Tom, I'm brand new and getting Orc Boys. That's a good faction to start with. I love Orcs. And you'd be happy to know that an exclusive, that for October, I've decided to do 2 Orc tutorials. But we'll talk about that later, because I just want some input on what. I already know one of them, what I'm going to do. So in October, next month, you should have 2 Orc tutorials. It's been about 2 years since the last one I did. I think I did Deathcopters. And Tipo, my friend will paint the Necrons, so I don't have to worry about that heresy. Nothing wrong with Necrons. Andrew, hello, welcome to the stream. Edge highlight. You don't like the amount of edge highlighting Marines are going to be. It also is worth it though. And then everyone's saying I'm muted, which is sorted. So yeah, this is what happens when you paint a lot of orcs. You do lose your voice. Edward, I'm glad the Khorne Berserker tutorial helped you out. Which one are you using? Are you using the more simple one, or are you using the box? I'm going to assume probably the simpler one. That was an interesting tutorial what I did there, because with the Khorne Berserkers I did the 2 tutorials. I did one which was like a simple way of painting them, how I would go about painting like an army of them. But then I did like a box art one. And in my head I thought the box art would be just as popular as the other one, but it isn't. So that's actually shown me that people don't want box art or heavy metal style level stuff all the time. So that's, what did I do after that? I did the blade guard. The blade guard I did for me, because I wanted to paint some blade guard for my ultramarines. Oh yeah, I did the Emperor's Children after that, and that was a simple colour scheme as well. I didn't bother doing a box art version of that because I felt the complication would be lost on them. But I think moving forward, I'm definitely going to be thinking about what level I'll paint stuff to. Igrim, painting the Blade Guard homebrew Blood Angels are taking care to make sure the upgrades to brew pauldrons fit behind the shields. Yeah, they should do. Any like shoulder pad should. And there's a lot of space between the Space Marine and the shield because the arm's out quite far from the body. Are you just assembling them tonight, not paint? That's fine. Good luck. I'm not building miniatures is probably my least favourite part of the hobby. Oh no, if I ever paint stuff for tutorials, it's always going to be my own stuff. I wouldn't accept people's stuff to do for tutorials. Because if you think about it, I'd have to charge you. It would be like a commission, especially if you wanted those back. But it's just easier and less complicated just to supply my own stuff for me. Hal Haggis, good evening. JB85, about to tackle a Tau combat patrol. I'll be checking out your Tau commander tutorial. Lucky for you, the next tutorial is going to be Fire Warriors as well. Actually, I won't show you. So I'm going to be painting a squad of Fire Warriors for next week's tutorial. So I've just been working on the base colours for the past couple of days. I don't know why I decided I wanted to do a whole squad, but I think just because I want one for myself. I would like to do a Tau army eventually. But it is going to be in the Viola, I think it's pronounced Viola set. But yeah, look forward to the Fire Warriors next week, next Sunday. Wafers, yeah, it's another stream. So I stream every other week. So I stream, don't stream, I stream. Because I alternate with my videos now. So 1 week will be a stream, 1 week will be a video. It just kind of helps the production pressure, I suppose. Edward, yeah, I'm doing the one you did with the Mephiston Red like you did. Yeah. I really like doing the Blood Angels. Or, yeah, because I did the 3 schemes for the Blood Angels. I did the contrast, sort of like a basic version. Yeah, so I must have only done 2 versions, maybe, or maybe I think I used the last one. So that's there's the contrast one. The thing about red you'll find is that the acrylics, they're gonna be, the colours are gonna be, they won't be as saturated, whereas the contrast is, because it's a glaze. But yeah, good luck with those. Wafers, I have a question, mate. After a month of painting Space Marines, I feel like I've not improved since my first squad in the Furnace Marines. In fact, I think I've regressed somewhat and I'm now worse. The only thing I can suggest is that go back to the basics. Always go back to the basics. How are you applying your paint? Are you doing thin layers? Are you thinning your paint correctly? Are you keeping everything neat and tidy? So when I'm painting whenever I do like a base colour or a colour, I'll tend to do about 3 thin layers. And I wouldn't even worry about shading or highlighting until you've nailed that. That's what I'd suggest. Because maybe you're just trying to take on too much all at once. So when you come to, say, like your next lot of miniatures, you may sort of end up focusing on more about highlights than the basics. So you kind of miss a lot of stuff when you're jumping around, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'd always be like, right, get the basics right. Clean, tidy, nice base layers, solid colours. And until you get that down, then I wouldn't worry so much about progressing to like your recess shades and your highlights. Forge Ferren, hi Michael, I have a Citadel brush question for you. Citadel glaze brush are really better for glazing or not especially, thank you. You can do glazing with any kind of brush. You'll see my videos that I'll use the glazing brush, or I'll use one of the like typical layer brushes. If it's a large flat area, I'll tend to use just a glaze brush, just because it's better with the flatter areas. It holds more glaze, it's a bit of a chunkier brush and flatter, so you get a nice, more of an even spread. But if you find it's quite smaller areas, or like on a face or small details, then you can just use like your normal layer brushes. But the one thing I always like to say about when it comes to brushes is that make sure you use a variety of brushes, even if they're all the same brush. But you're going to struggle just owning one brush and using that for everything, because that brush won't be good at doing anything then. That's why I have like a good selection of brushes. So in here I've got like 3 medium layer brushes, like 4 or 5 small layer brushes. And I've had all these, like these brushes I've probably had for about 6 months now. And I didn't buy them all at once, I just kind of got a brush here and there when I needed it. But because I've spread the workload across a few of them rather than a couple, they last longer, and they're better at doing things. Now, Radio Spec, it's good to see you here in the live stream. And I've lost you. There we go. About to finish up my Screamer Killer using contrast paints mostly. Really happy with it, but man, contrast is hard on Space Marines. Thanks for all your tutorials. You're very welcome. I've still got my Screamer Killer to paint. That's going to be a video for next year, I think. Probably Easter. I really want to get the Combat Patrol box of Tyranids. I don't think I've finished doing Tyranids for the channel yet, because I haven't finished it for my army. But I'm glad. I love contrast paints. They're so like versatile. You can do a lot with them, especially if you want to get armies painted, because like it's tough painting to like this level where you're doing like 5 highlights on each marine all the time. It's just not achievable for an army unless you want to work on it for like 2 years. Wafers, how do I improve actually, like a roadmap or something? I want to be able to do non-metallic metals, smooth transitions, etc. Start with the base. Honestly, start with the basics, because it all comes down to practice and brush control. Just follow some of my tutorials, even if you're not doing that army. And it's not going to click straight away, but it will eventually if you keep pushing yourself. But you can't rush it. You've got to just sort of put in the time. I've been painting for 25 years, and it's only in the past 3 years since I've been doing this channel that I've really pushed myself and sort of starting to achieve a good level of painting, what I would consider a good level of painting. By no means I'm a master or an expert. I'm an enthusiastic hobbyist who spends too much time painting miniatures. But don't get discouraged. But it really does come down to the basics. The best thing to paint is Space Marines. I would watch, the videos I would watch for me would be, the big ones is Thinning Your Paints video and the highlighting video, because those two videos kind of encompass how to paint miniatures, how I approach painting miniatures, especially the highlighting video, because it'll talk about the best approach to it. It's not just about I know I say it's how to highlight a highlight video, but it really is just how to approach miniatures in general. Because if you can highlight to a good standard, then you can paint anything. And when it comes to glazing, the most basic thing is, if you watch my stream from last 2 weeks ago, I talk about the basic glazing technique on a Space Marine, where it's just highlighting sort of like the shin pads on the base, on the leg there. But I wouldn't try and do everything all at once. But go watch my highlighting video and the Thinning Your Paints video. Watching those two, they're kind of like the fundamentals for me that changed my level of painting quite quickly as well. But you need some experience under your belt for it to like work. I don't do commissions. I just don't have the time. I just like painting for tutorials. Because the thing about commissions, you have to paint. It takes like a week to do a video for like a couple of miniatures. So if you're talking like a squad of 10 miniatures, I would probably have to charge nearly close to £1,000, because that's like 2 to 3 weeks worth of work. So it's just not realistic. Wafers, if it's important, I'm painting Ultramarines, specifically Assault Intercessors, then Termes and the characters before ending with Gulliman. But by the time you get to Gulliman, I will probably get to Gulliman, so he's still on my shelf to paint. But hopefully by the end of the year I'll get around to him. I've just got a lot of stuff I want to sort out my website first. It's just finding time to do that. Did you read my message on email on Insta? Yeah, I replied to your email if you haven't seen it. So go check it might be in spam, I'm not sure, but I did see your email. So just go check the reply. Igrim, some of the blade guard were quite tight with the pauldrons. One has a dangling skull on rope 2 that won't fit the first 2 models, working through them and taking a food break and resting my back. Yeah. Take a break every hour. I do. Oh, do you mean like, I know what you mean. On the shoulder pad, you've got that extra trim. I remember being a pain when I was putting them together. My only real problem with the videos is that you only use Citadel, which is very expensive in my area. Thankfully, there are conversion charts available for Vallejo and some locally made brands. Yeah, when it comes to like the paint brand, I'm not. You could, as you say, you could use a conversion chart and use different colours. And I've made it very simple in using one brand, so you can just convert all those into whatever brand you want. I feel like it gets so complicated when people start bringing out 10 different brands of paints into one video. That's why I made the decision just to stick to one brand, and I made the choice to make it Citadel because it's associated with Warhammer. But there's no point in like one video I use like a blue from Vallejo, then another video I use a blue from Citadel, then another video I use a blue from Army Painter. There's no consistency. And I know there are like channels that do that, which is fine. That's it's kind of like in that moment they've decided that's the best for that miniature. But I've always thought my videos are more about the techniques and the steps to painting the miniatures rather than the actual brand. It's very easy just to substitute the colours out, regardless of what I'm painting, if that makes sense. Parker plays, yo, on Gazgul, how will I do the pattern on his left arm? You're talking about the fade, the checkers. On my personal Gazgul, you could paint the checkers in, like you block the checkers in. And then I think I just slowly built up some Norn oil, gradually getting darker to the base. I'm not sure how I would do it now. That's how I did it for mine. I may do a Gazgul tutorial early next year. I haven't decided yet. But if you can't wait, go watch my Ultramarines tutorial, Terminator tutorial. So I talk about glazing over checkers in that video, which might help. But yeah, I use Norn oil to darken sort of like to one end. Or you can just glaze black instead of Norn oil. Like these days I'll glaze black rather than Norn oil. Wafers also, I sent an email last stream. I'm just letting you know, I've replied to every email I've received since last stream, but there was an issue that was brought to my attention, that my email wasn't working. So recently I changed my hosting for my website, which messed up my email, but my email is now working. On that, my next stream in 2 weeks is going to be subscriber showcase. So if anyone has any miniatures they want to show off, email them to me at contact@tabletopready.co.uk. The email address is in the description. I'll put a post out during the week for people. Yeah, so in 2 weeks time I'll be doing a subscriber miniature showcase. I won't be doing any feedback. It'll just be showing off miniatures. But I'll talk about that again towards the end of the stream. Radio Spec, here's me throwing my wish for a Silent King tutorial in the ring. I am going to be doing the Silent King, but again, that's probably going to be next year. For those who don't know, I'm going to be starting a character series, which will be paid content on top of the YouTube tutorials. So I'll still be alternating the tutorial and live streaming for the channel. That won't change. But on top of that, you'll see now and again I'll put a large miniature character up as either a members video for YouTube, or it will be exclusive to Patreon. But at the £4 and up levels. But the Silent King is definitely on that list. So on that list, I know I want to do Guilliman, the Lion, Magnus, Gazgul, and the Silent King. Those 5 miniatures are definitely there, and the Norn Emissary for Tyranids. They're definitely going to be done. They're going to be the first miniatures I do. In that order, I don't know. I definitely want to do Guilliman and the Lion first, then Magnus. They're the first three. Then it probably is actually going to be Ghazghkull, then the Silent King. But you're probably looking at maybe one a month, one every 6 weeks. But they're not going to be regular. They're going to be when I get a chance to do them. Wafers, thanks for the input. I do thin my layers to try and make it really neat, but I feel like it's not enough, so I did end up jumping around so much. It's so simple that I didn't see it. Yeah, I remember you sent me, is it the Deathwing? Belial, I think the character is. But yeah, I did take some time to think about what I wanted to say about that. But as I was saying earlier, it's the basics. It's just taking your time and just getting used to painting and using your brush. That's literally the most important thing about miniature painting, and it's a thing that just leveled me up straight away. Because it's, I don't know if anyone knows who Darren Latham is. He used to have a YouTube channel, and he talked about this stuff on his YouTube channel. And it's this stuff I hadn't thought about before, but when he talked about it, it literally changed the way I approach painting. So that's why I bring it into my tutorials. But that's why it's always the first thing I talk about in all my tutorials is the basics. Hub, hello, welcome to the stream. About to paint my Gloomspite Git Spearhead following your tutorials, wish me luck. Love your videos, by the way, super comprehensive. I'm really glad. I've actually got some, I want to talk about my Gloomspite Gits in a moment, so if you're still here, stick around. Because I've been working on them this week. Virus of Nurgle, any brush is good for glazing, exactly. Any brush is good for anything, to be honest with you. Best brush types for contrast painting? That's actually a good question. The ST or synthetic brushes, it doesn't matter with it sitted out, to be honest with you. But I find that the synthetic brushes are actually really good for contrast. This is my new favourite brush, by the way. Is the STC base medium brush, and it's like a small flat brush, but this is so good for putting your base colors down, and it's great for contrast paints as well, because it's got a good size tip. Because what I find with, I hope everyone doesn't mind me rambling, I'm just sort of letting it all out what I've been thinking about all week. But this is where you get to learn how my brain works. Okay, so eventually I do want to do a brush video. So before I was a big fan of using the small base brush. But what I always find, don't just ignore this brush, because this is, I haven't cleaned this brush properly. But it always hooked at the end. But then I decided to give this a go and change to this, and it's been a massive difference. And I love this brush. So moving forward in my tutorials, instead of using a small base brush, you'll start to see me use this brush, starting with the Fire Warriors next week. But yeah, for contrast paints, not any brush is fine, but I find that the synthetic brushes are really good. Just because they hold the liquid better. Yeah, Virus and Nurgle's exactly right what I was just saying. I'd say the synthetic ones Games Workshop do. Great minds think alike. Edward, can you please make a tutorial to paint mega knobs? I have. Hello, Michael. Nikki, hello. The one thing I get confused about is I get asked to do tutorials I've already done, which means that people aren't looking at the channel and what videos and content I've already got. But I've already done. He's got no arm. I have to make, just ignore that. Let me just move all these up. I'm not sure what's on the box anymore, if the box has changed, but these were the two prominent main colour schemes. Was an Evil Sun's Mega Knobs armour. These are really early on in my channel, probably within the first 6 videos. I know this was my 4th video, but yeah. So Evil Suns, still 2 of my best tutorials I've done. And this one I was super happy with. I had 2 attempts at doing a Bad Moon's armour. You can see I got the colouring, like the rusty, grungy look. But yeah, go check those out. And I've also done, if you watch my Orc Mega Boss, that's Goth armor. So I've done like 3 of the main clans. So go check them out. Always, like, if you're looking for, if I've painted stuff, go look at all my videos, what I've done. I've got playlists, like all the playlists are organised. So you can just see if there's a faction there, and then you should see all the videos I've done for that faction, for example. Another thing I did by a glazed medium from Vallejo, but after some testing I still have no idea how to use it to achieve smoother transitions. Also any brush control tips. Practice. People overthink things, especially when it comes to miniature painting. They'll always come to me and say, how do I do this, this, and this? And my go-to is always just, it's practice. Because with practice, you teach your brain, you build that connection between your hand and your brain. So it makes it easier. And I talk about it in my highlighting video. So go check those 2 videos out. I guarantee a lot of your questions will be answered in just those 2 videos. So my thinning paints video and the highlighting video. And I guarantee if you work with those 2 videos and like really practice those fundamentals, a lot of your questions will be answered. And a lot of the time people overthink things. Yeah, go watch those 2 videos. Because your next question is, I'll move my arms closer, but it's not enough. And again, in the highlighting video, I'll show you good posture and good technique for your arms and hands and how to sit. So honestly, go watch those 2 videos. They'll probably answer 99.9% of your questions. So here's a question: what made you want to be a painting creator? That is a very good question. Ryan Scale Model World, hello, welcome to the stream. So I've been like the one thing I've always loved doing, and one thing I've always done is paint miniatures, regardless of what I've done professionally and outside of doing the hobby, is always painting miniatures. And I love content creation, and I'm a very creative person. I did a lot of art and like computer graphics throughout my life. And I've always wanted to work for myself as well. I'm a very neurodivergent person, and I find it difficult to work in a structured setting. So it's very important for me to try and find a way to work for myself. Literally everything just sort of came together, and it was like, okay, I need to just have a go at doing a painting channel. And it was during lockdown, and I was watching channels like Midwinter Minis and Squidmar, and a lot of other content creators as well outside of the hobby, and it just looked like a lot of fun. And I kind of already knew a lot of the things that you would need to make a YouTube channel, so I just kind of got started on it. And then it's just, I haven't stopped. I think I'm coming into my 5th year now, next year. So it's been a journey, but it's been frustrating, but I wouldn't be doing anything else. I love it, absolutely love it. I only wish I started sooner, but you start when you're ready, I suppose. But yeah, I feel like throughout my life it was always leading up to doing a painting channel. Wafers, alright then, back to the basics then. I just really want the models I've spent so much of my money on to look really good. Yeah, honestly, basics, back to basics. Because like sometimes I'll say in the videos as well, it's when you get the basics right, it's a good foundation for the stuff after. Like your shading and your highlighting and your glazing, they'll all look so much better as well, because you're working from a cleaner canvas. Whereas if you're working from a messy model, it's very distracting, and you don't even pick out the highlighting. Charlotte, hello, welcome. I know I'm in the minority, but I don't like contrast paints. It's a lot hard to correct mistakes. You can't lick your brush. Yeah, contrast paints taste awful. Yeah, it took me a while to sort of get around to contrast paints. And I understand what you mean, is that it's tough to correct mistakes. And you are going to make them. It's kind of a compromise, because it's a lot quicker to paint miniatures. What I find that helps is you do all your contrasts like you would your base colours, and then you sort of go in with like your Wraithbone or Greyseer, whichever undercoat you use, and then you just sort of go back and spend time just kneading it up. And you do get, with practice, you do get a bit neater. So what would you say to someone who hates layering? It depends what you mean by layering. Like an old sort of mentality of layering is starting from a dark colour and building up to a light colour. Which I don't go for that approach. I always go for a mid-tone, then I work my way down to do the shading and recessing, and then I work up to do the highlights, just like the studio, like Games Workshop studio would. But most of the time, if you're talking about putting down paint on a miniature, you're probably gonna have to get over that, because it's what you do. You paint. You could try airbrushing. I'm gonna sneeze. But layering's very important. It's how that's literally the basis of painting. But otherwise, you could have a look at contrast paints. That's a lot quicker way to paint things. Or an airbrush if you don't like layering. It's the only thing I can suggest. If you want to stick to using the traditional acrylic paints, then you are gonna have to sort of like knuckle down and love to learn it. JK, thank you for subscribing. But other than that, have a look at contrast paints or airbrushing. Maybe a different approach is more your thing. Forge Ferren, hello. Thanks for your explanation. I use layer medium 2 for glazing, but I'm thinking about buying a glaze brush for testing the difference. Yeah, the only reason to have a different brush is to have a different brush. But it's really down to your preference and what you like to use. As I say, I'll use both. One thing I do like about the glaze brush is that it's firm and there's less flex in it, which is another sort of bonus for the glazing brush. I don't care much if people say it looks good or bad, but I want to pick something I'm painting and say to myself it's 100% honesty that it looks clean and good. Yeah, it's always... Yeah, you should never compare yourself to other people or worry about what other people are saying. It's more about what you get out of the hobby. If deep down you want to get better at painting miniatures, and that's your journey. And I'm not saying my videos or tutorials are the way for you to improve. You might find a different way to that finish line for you. Because there's lots of different ways to paint miniatures. As I was saying, like, you don't like layering, like you could try the contrast paints or airbrushing. That might be something more up your alley. You've got to find a way to enjoy it. Like, it's not just about getting things done, it's about what you enjoy doing. Yeah, so this week I'll get back to the chat in a moment. I want to start showing stuff. So this week what I've been doing, in get ready to start my Tomb King's army, I've wanted to get this Night Goblin army finished. But that's what I've been doing. So this week I got... So these were the 3 trolls I had painted before. These are the ones I did for the video. This week I finally finished the next 3. I've now got 6 trolls. The big thing that takes time with these trolls is that I decided to line highlight all these like scales or rocks. I can tell you now, it took a whole day just to highlight these this rocky texture. Obviously, if you're not up for that, you can dry brush it. But I was really happy with those, so they're done. I finished my second Mangler squig, which is now in a box, and I've got them based. Something else I did this week was I finalised a movement tray design. Because I just wanted it to be cleaner, but you'll notice that they stick because they're magnetised. But what I've done is you can't see the magnets from this side, so it's just flat. So it's a bit different to how I've done it in the video. In my video, these I have got the STL files for these. These are going to be available on my website. I probably will charge for them, but very like for maybe £1 or a couple of dollars. Or I'll probably do a bundle for all of them. Ooh. So yeah. So you have different sizes. So 25mm, 30, 40mm, I think. 40mm for the trolls, and I think there's 30mm for the trolls here. For each one, I think it might be a bit excessive to have this many magnets. Thank you everyone for subscribing. Another decision I made was to split. Do you notice as well? There's a lip. You can see that there's like a 1mm lip, but I've split each tray in half. So obviously when you take casualties from the back, so like if these are dying, you don't have like a half empty tray moving around the board. So I just thought it'd be more sensible to have half trays. So here you've got a 6x3. That's another. This is one I need to do. So put the magnets in the bottom like that. So that's what it prints off, and you put the magnets in the bottom. And the magnets are just like in the video. They're 5mm by 2mm. So I need to finish putting this unit together. Then that'll be a 6x6. The sizes I've done for infantry for these, I've done a 20 base unit, so that's a 5x4, and then it's going to be a 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, and I might do an 8x8, because in Old World, when you rank up your units, if they're longer than they are wider, they don't get any benefits in combat. So you never want your units to be longer than they are wider. So at most you want it to be the same, you want it to be a square basically, which is my thinking. And I'm telling you now, everyone needs to get into the Old World because it's a fantastic game, and I think it's only going to get more popular over the next couple of years. But if anyone has any questions about the Night Goblins, obviously just ask away. All I've got left to do are the 40 archers, which I want to do in the next couple of weeks, because I'm going to go to Warhammer World in October, hopefully in December, to have some games. But it's also because I want to start a Tomb King's army, which I'm going to do a whole series of videos for throughout January, just because I want to. Andrew, I recently finished a few Horus Heresy models for my Iron Warriors. Currently I'm working on my 30k Dark Angels and 40k Black Templars. I've always had a hard time painting black armor, and your tutorials from ages ago helped big time. I'm glad. Doing black armor is a really interesting thing to tackle, because you can do it in loads of different ways. Because you just changing the colour of highlights can change the tone of the black. So if you say, you can go straight to like the obvious grey, which gives a very dull black. You can do, say, like Fenrisian grey, so it's more like a blue highlight, which gives you a very cool black. And you can even, in some of my videos, you can do like Doomball brown. I've got all my miniatures here because I like to showcase. So if you look in the legs here, I've used Doomball Brown. And it just adds some warmth to the armor, and that's grey highlights. There's just a few bits you can do. So with what would be an otherwise sort of very dull colour, it sort of adds a bit of character and vibrance. That's an Iron Hands. I'll check. I did reply. I'll resend the email tomorrow. I'll get a chance. And Nathan Vanderberg, do you ever put down multiple coats of shade, Norn oil, or is it always just one? Sometimes I might use two if I want a darker silver. But it's all, again, it's like personal choice. If you let your first layer dry and you think it could be darker, obviously go for another one. I always find using shades very deceptive. It doesn't look like it's really going to do a lot when you first put one down, but when it's fully dried, after like half an hour, it actually really does darken what you've put it over. And if you find that the shades are too dark, you can always mix in a little bit of Lamy medium to sort of knock back the strength. I've written down fundamentals on a notepad and stuck it on my desk, so I remember to do that. What do you think of the fundamentals? Thinning, brush control, shading. As I said, go watch my thinning paints video and highlighting video. And they'll go through everything you need to focus on, and they should really help. Alhaggis, no Mortarian. He'll because I need to do an updated Death Guard tutorial, and Mortarian is on the list to do. He's going to be a real task to do though, but I want to do all the Primarchs. Just personally, I want them just to have them painted. So Mortarian is on there. It'd probably be Magnus then Mortarian. But that's obviously, I don't want to that's probably like middle of next year if I ever get around to it. I found a nice resource over at Mini Painting subreddit, so I'll start over again there while watching some of your stuff. Yeah, just honestly, it's about just sitting down, relaxing, and taking your time. Yes. As I said earlier, so in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be doing a subscriber showcase. My email is now working, so there has been issues since the last live stream. So please resend anything again. I have replied to every email that I have recently gotten. So if you've not had a reply, just resend an email. So the email is contact@tabletop.ready.co.uk, is in the description. But yeah, in 2 weeks I'll be doing a subscriber showcase rather than, well, I call this a hobby hangout, but I never get around to doing any hobby. Which is fine. The hobbying part's always a backup. But I'll put a community post out during the week anyway, a couple of times, just to make sure everyone knows. So if you're watching this after the fact that it's been live, send in your miniatures. Depending on how many I get, I may not show all of them, but I'll let you know if I show them, if I plan on showing them. If I don't, then I'll leave you feedback in the email, so you'll get feedback either way. I'm going to be honest, the only reason that is because I want to show a variety of miniatures. So if I get 10 people sending me just like ultramarines, it's not going to be very exciting for the stream. So I do try and avoid that. So I'll try and pick a variety of the stream, but again, I'll let you know if I plan on using it, and if I don't use it, I'll definitely give you feedback in the email. So emails, contact us at tabletopready.co.uk. It's in the description. But again, I'll put posts out. Hal Haggis, I'm sitting here painting kits too, batch painting 8 shooters. Wafers, thank you very much. If you're still here, have a good night. Please just watch those 2 videos. And watch them multiple times. Do some painting, go back to watching those videos, do some more painting, keep going back and forth. Because usually I've learnt that it takes multiple sort of watchings or readings, say about actually 10 times before you actually take in all the information. So you're not going to watch or read something once and just take it all in. But thank you very much. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you very much for being here and asking a lot of great questions. Edward, sorry, I'm quite new to the channel. I haven't looked at everything yet. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, so anyone out there wondering if I've painted something, at this point I've painted quite a lot. I've not painted everything. I still need to do Mechanicus and Drukhari, which I'm hopefully planning on doing soon. But generally I've done a lot of the other factions for 40k at least. Would I paint Deathwatch with different colour schemes for shoulders? You can have one for each chapter, or make them black as a single unit. For Deathwatch, I'll definitely do the fun thing and paint lots of different chapters. You could go out there and explore the backgrounds and learn about what chapters you want to represent. And I think even in like the new kits and stuff, they'll give you moulded shoulder pads of different chapters. Kevin, hello. Thanks for the videos. I found them really helpful getting back into the hobby. Keep up the good work, mate. I'm really glad. Thank you very much for letting me know. I really appreciate it. I love painting miniatures, and I want everyone else to love painting miniatures as well. That's why I try so hard to make it as accessible as I can for you guys. So I'm glad everyone enjoys my videos still. Alex, Guy Woka, sorry about my head. Hello from Russia, your guides are impressive. Hello Russia, how are you? Nice to have you here. Nasaluta, just got into the old world. I love the old world. It's definitely I don't really play 40k or Age of Sigmar, but I definitely play old world. And I love the new update for the old world as well. Because it's really helped with infantry in combat. Especially my my squigs. These guys here, these are like a nasty little unit now, because they're fighting in an extra rank, because they're actually infantry, which is fun. Yeah, give Old World a try. And I'm going to be doing a lot of content on the Tomb Kings stuff in January. I want to paint my whole entire army on the channel, so I know it gets done. Edward, in Warhammer World there's new diorama of the drop site massacre. Yeah, I have seen that. I'm going to Warhammer World in October, so I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of the new displays and stuff. I've not been to Warhammer World since like 2022, so like a good like 4 years, like literally when I first kind of started the channel. I just haven't had time or anyone to go with since, but I'm really excited. I'm going to be going at the start of October and then December. I'd love to see your take on Chaos Terminators one day. I would only... I've done the Chaos Legions in like the normal sort of Space Marine armor, in the Chaos armor. So you just kind of transfer that to the Terminators. There's no real difference. But I have done the Legions, all of them now, including like them, even like obviously the Khorne Berserkers, Thousand Sons, Emperor's Children. I've done them all. So it's just watching those videos and just using those steps to paint your Terminators. We're big, Nasaluta, we're big fans of watching your tutorials at our local game store. Lots of love from Dubai. Oh, that's amazing, thank you very much. Say hello to everyone for me. Send a picture. I'd love to see your the hobby shop in Dubai. That'd be amazing. Any instructions for the format or photo submissions? That is a very good question. As long as it's 1080p at least, and it's a good clear picture, just using your phone's fine. I won't accept links to Imager or from other social platforms, so I would like actual pictures that you've taken and sent through the email. Hello Stephen, by the way, good to see you. Yeah, so I don't mind it being square as long as it's clear and an actual picture rather than a link, so I don't want to have to like go to these links and then have to sort of download the pictures. I can mess with the picture myself otherwise. Edward, got to go. I'll be sure to watch the Meganobs video. Good, enjoy them. Nathan Vanderberg, I still can't wait to see Knights or Titans. I am going to do a night after Tomb Kings, so expect probably February, March next year for a night. Dave the Rave, hello, welcome to the streams, good to see ya. So, we are 1 hour and 15 minutes into the live stream and I haven't started anything. Okay, I do want to finish my Space Marines. So what you see here in front of me is the last of the Space Marine bits from the Leviathan box from like 3 years ago. And my goal is to get them finished by the end of the year. I've got a lot of stuff I want to get finished by the end of the year. So I'm nearly finished the Night Goblin army, which I started start of last year. So it's about time I finish those. So I've just got the 40 archers for those to finish. Oh, if anyone didn't know, last week was the Blood Ravens tutorial, which has been quite popular. People have been really positive about them. So if you haven't seen it, I do a basic and sort of like a heavy metal standard. So, my goal Oop. I've got a lot of stuff I want to get done by the end of the year. This is one of them. Just finishing off the Leviathan bits from the Space Marine side at least. The Tyranid stuff is going to be kept for my Tyranid army if I want to get around to doing that anyway next year. My Night Goblins I want to finish. They're like the two main things I want to get finished this year, ready for new projects, because I want to start my Tomb Kings for Old World, and I want to get on with my Imperial Fists. So the pre-orders for the Imperial Fist stuff came out yesterday, so I pre-ordered Lysander and some dice. Excuse me. I didn't want to get the box, the Combat Patrol box, until I know I'm going to have time doing that. But I can't imagine that's going out of... I'm sure that'll be around for a while. Especially with like Christmas coming up. I'm wondering what the alien box is going to be. Has anyone bought any of the new Space Marine stuff yet? They've got White Scars still to come out, haven't they? So with these Infernus Marines, the base colours are down. I just need to tidy them up. Like, there's a lot of messy areas. Like you can see, it just needs tidying up and cleaning up, which is important, everybody. And then highlighting. Honestly, these are going to take forever because it's going to be 5 levels of highlighting, and that's the reason they've been sat on my shelf.
Hi Michael, do you have any tips on painting Crimson Fist's blue armor?
Eric, thank you very much for the super chat. It's really appreciated. Crimson Fists. Yes. Crimson Fists are going to be actually tutorial, probably by the end of the year. Do I know how I'm going to paint them yet? I don't. The only thing I can say to you at the moment is, if you watch my Ultramarine tutorial and just do like a darker version, so if you want to do a really simple version, you could do, your base colour is obviously going to be Cantor Blue. Your recess shade is going to be Night Lord's Blue. And then your highlight it depends what kind of tone you want to get. So you've got 3 choices for your highlight. So this is quite a pastel-y colour. I think this might be a bit too bright, so we won't do that. I think that might be too blue. Honestly, I think you could do the highlight colour's the tough one. I think Techless Blue could be an interesting colour to highlight it, because it's a nice vibrant blue. Or you could highlight the colour you highlight Ultramarines, which is Calgar Blue. But I will be doing a Crimson Fist tutorial. I just need a break from painting Space Marines, in all honesty. And I'm about to paint some for my own personal stuff anyway. So you'll probably find I'll probably do Crimson Fists at the end of January. Because it's good to do the Space Marines in general for the channel, and everyone's always asking for different chapters. And doing the Blood Ravens is kind of showing me that just doing like chapters is quite important as well, not just the main chapters, the main legions. But I'll definitely do Cantor Blue and Night Lords Blue. It's just experimenting with the highlight colours, which I would have to do. I would have to spend some time doing. But if you can wait until, if you can wait a bit longer, I will have a video. You could just paint them Cantor Blue and do the Night Lords for now, and then wait until I show the highlight colours for later. But I wouldn't want to tell you a colour now and then change my mind later when I do a tutorial. That wouldn't be fair. The Trans Travel the Globe, hello. You're my favourite YouTube painter. Your tutorials are amazing and make me feel like I could achieve the same outcome with practice. Keep up the good work. I'm really glad that's my actual mantra, my goal. Because you can achieve the same outcome. I can paint them to the level I paint them in the videos. You can as well. There's nothing I don't really miss out in the videos. I may miss out like details like how to paint purity seals, but you can go to another video and find that detail, but I won't miss out an important step. But I'm glad you feel that way. I'm really glad. Very excited about next month. I'll start a miniature painting course with a Golden Demon finalist, and he told me we can start with Celestine. Wow. You'll have to you'll have to share some tips. That's great. Good luck with that. It's tough to find a good teacher, in all honesty. I've had to teach myself everything myself. JK, I've only bought Vulcan, Hustain. Hustan from the new Space Marine stuff was fun to paint. He's really nice miniature. I remember painting him for a friend. That was my first sort of adventure into painting fire and flames. Oh, it's the new. I can't, because there's two new Salamander characters now, isn't there? You've got the Primaris-ified version of the old Salamander character, who's gone around looking for all the relics. Then you had the new Primaris character from about 4 or 5 years ago. I'd like to paint the new one that's just come out. But yes, I love salamanders. Ryan Kirkwood, hello there, painting Lieutenant Titus while watching the stream. Thanks for the vids, they got me started on painting. Where did you get your Titus from? I've looked everywhere. Because they keep releasing him sporadically in like a box here or random as a miniature there. But he doesn't ever seem to be available for general release. Because I was thinking about doing a tutorial for him, but you can't buy him. So there's no real point to showing people how to paint him, unfortunately. And Tippo, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Zed Brazinga, any tips on thinning paints? Yes, I do have a dedicated video for thinning your paints. It's quite a recent video. You'll actually find a link to it in the description. And I get asked this a lot. How do I keep my brushes so sharp? Look how great my brush is. It's all in your head. My brushes, they aren't amazing. They're not. They're all over the place. Like these are both small layer brushes, but look at the tips, they're both different. In this one I've obviously used a lot. This one's a bit newer. There's always wear and tear on your brushes, everyone. This is why you need to replace them now and again. The brush does not make the painter. The painter uses the brush. Like, I know people aren't fans of, well, they jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, Citadel this, Games Workshop that. There's other better brands out there. But really, you should be able to use any kind of brush. Like everything I paint in the videos, I use Citadel brushes for. But how do I keep a tip? Honestly, it's tough. It's just sort of getting used to the brush and how that brush works. But you're never going to get, in people's heads, you have to have this perfect brush that's infallible, that never has a stray hair, it's always pointy, but brushes aren't like that. They're gonna like split and they're gonna do your head in. And the brush you've loved using for like the past 2 weeks, suddenly you can't use that
Thanks
at all.
for the tips. I have those Blood Angels and Dark Angels Space Marine Heroes minis. Emo them the armor calls for Crimson Fists. I'll try some colors now and check out the tutorial when it drops.
Yeah, awesome. Good luck. Again, you can always send me a picture, show me how it's going, and I can sort of give feedback. As I say, I can't, like, next stream's going to be subscriber. It's going to be subscriber submissions, a showcase. But if you remind me for the live stream after or one in the future, I'll do a little experimentation because you've been very generous, to be fair. But if you want to send me if you want to send me images of when you do get around to doing your Crimson Fists, I'll give feedback and I'll spend some time figuring out a colour recipe for you. But you'll have to send me an email to remind me. I just won't be ready for the next couple of weeks because of this, obviously the showcase, rather than it being a hobby hangout. You got Titus off eBay. Yeah, it's really frustrating that Games Workshop can't just put him into production and have him as a general release. It's silly because a lot of people are going to be coming from that game, and it just makes sense just to have him there to buy. And I would do a tutorial for him. How often do I buy new brushes? It depends. All the brushes I've got here, I've probably built up, like a lot of the brushes, say like your glazing brushes, your shade brushes, your dry brushes, like technique specific brushes, you won't have to change very often, maybe once every 6 months. Your brushes, like your layer brushes, maybe even your base brushes, I would try and have maybe 2 or 3 2 or 3 of your main brush that you use. So I use a small layer the most. So I've actually got 4 of those. I've got about 2 medium layer brushes because that's like my next most used brush, which just means there's less wear and tear across all of the brushes. So I would end up probably changing those out maybe like once every 3 months, or this depends how long they last, but they're not going to last forever. And a lot of people will say, oh, brushes are an investment. They're not, because there's wear and tear on them. That's why, like, I used to spend £15 on a brush every time, and it was a waste of money. So I mean, a Citadel brush is probably about £5-6, and that's probably about the right price range for a brush. Because let's face it, there isn't many of us here who are painting for competition level. The competition level, I mean, even just like display level, which I would say I paint to, you can get away with like general brushes. But if you're painting for like an army wide, if painting like an army or something like that, there's going to be more wear and tear, so you don't want expensive brushes. Maybe for your characters, but generally not for your infantry. But yeah, always use a variety of brushes because they'll last longer, rather than using one brush for everything. What I'm going to do for this guy, sorry. He's mostly finished. I just need to get his base done. So I'm just going to start working on the tentacles down here, which is probably going to take about 4 layers of wraithbone. But when it comes to like thinning paints and stuff, in all my videos I sort of talk about that. I always like to thin paints about an equal amount, which is always sort of a good starting point. I know you can't see this, but it's more important about what I say, I suppose. And it's not set in stone how thin your paints or how thick your paint should be, but you are going to need to put some water in there just to help with the flow and the texture. Again, if you look in the description, there's a couple of videos I recommend watching, and thinning your paints video is in there. It's quite a comprehensive video. Which sort of talks about why we thin paints, what happens when we don't thin paints, why we get texture in our paints. And it even talks about different times you might use a different consistency. So for glazing, for example, obviously you put more water in the paint because you want it thinner, because you want the paint to be more transparent. Otherwise, say for highlighting, you might put less water in it because you want a stronger colour, because you want stronger lines. But it's all this you learn as you hobby. I will never say your approach is going to be exactly the same as mine. You might find you like your paints a different consistency or different thinness. I just show people what works best for me. I just try and be an example for a starting point, so you guys can go away and sort of learn yourselves. as long as you understand the fundamentals of why we do things, that's what's important. And you can you have to learn the rules to break the rules, I think is what they say. You got to have the foundation building blocks first. So this is just one of those weird floaty brain things that come with the Euro Tyrant, I think it's called. I do paint these in that video. I'll probably do a very basic version of that, so it'll be just like a base colour and a wash and highlight. If I haven't said before, I'm not a big fan of detailed bases like this. Like I've always said, if they're going to have bases like this, they need to be able to have it so I can decide whether to have the miniature on that or not. If I spent enough time painting the miniature, I might not always want to paint the base after. And then it's like everyone else's lieutenant's going to have the same exact base. What if I don't want him to stand on a Tyrannid? I just think it just takes away choice. I realise Games Workshop's approach these days for these miniatures is that they're token play pieces for the games. And I don't think it's Games Workshop's goal for you to manipulate them too much, like you used to be able to. Oh yeah, what I wanted to talk about as well. So next week, it's going to be, I'm doing a Fire Warriors tutorial. I'm painting a squad of Fire Warriors in the white colour scheme like you see in the box. So they're for next Sunday. I haven't done an update for members and patrons yet because I'm still doing the base colours. I'll probably have an update for the supporters tomorrow evening when I've got stuff down and tell you what the plan is. Because I went into the Warhammer store to get them, but frustratingly, you have to order them offline because they're not like a main line unit. Because nobody buys them in a Tau army. Everyone just buys battle suits, I suppose. So it delayed me a couple of days waiting for them to turn up in the post. And for some reason I decided to paint the whole squad. Sorry, but I missed a bit of information before. Do we send you again the miniatures by email, or if you answered then there is no need for that? Yeah, like if you're unsure, just send another email. Fine. Charles Hodgson, hi Michael, only just joined in on the stream. What Space Marines is that you're painting? So what I'm painting here, I've got 5 of these Infernus Marines as well. This is the Lieutenant. So these are the last miniatures from the Space Marine side of the Leviathan box that came out as the launch box for Warhammer 40,000. So if on my channel, I've pretty much done a video for every unit in that box. So Terminators, the Captain, the Librarian, the Stern Guard, the Infernus Marines, pretty much all of them, and some of the Tyrannid stuff as well. It's just another 5 Infernus Marines that I want to get done, and this Lieutenant, just to get them out of my backlog, ready to start new projects. Because I'm about to start. I'm about to start properly an Imperial Fist army for myself. So yeah, after the Fire Warriors, it's going to be October. And I thought, what better way to celebrate October than to paint some orcs? So I'm planning on doing 2 orc tutorials. I've only decided in the past couple of days that I'm going to do this. So the first tutorial after the Fire Warriors for the orcs, I'm going to be painting a shock attack gun. Because it's an interesting to paint. It's quite popular in the actual game as well, so a lot of people want to know how to paint it. There's not really anyone else who's done a painting tutorial for it on YouTube that I've seen, so I think it's it just makes sense to do one. And I've got one in my army as well that I need to paint, so by the end of the tutorial hopefully I'll have 2 to play with, which I think would be fun. Yeah, I've wanted to do a shock attack gun for a while, but I think it's time. Then after that, I wanted to have a go at redoing the how to paint orc vehicles tutorial. That's really popular, but it's really badly edited. The music's too loud on it, so every time I go back to watch it, it's not a very good tutorial. So I've always wanted to go back and redo it. But what I don't want to do is to paint another truck. I've actually got like 5 trucks for my army now, all converted. So I thought about the idea I've got now is just how to paint an orc army, and showcase my army. Because what I can do is I can recycle old footage from like my previous orc videos and that video, because the footage is fine. I can mess with the colour grading on it and sort of mess with the editing, and then do sort of like a general how to paint orcs video. Because I have got a battle wagon I want to paint and a dreadnought, which I might do for the video as well on top. So yeah, those are the 2 videos, shock attack gun and then a general painting orc video. I think that'd be quite fun. Kana, just wanted to let you know that I started last month with Warhammer 40k and watched a ton of your videos. Thanks for making these videos, I learned a lot from watching them. Amazing, thank you so much for letting me know, and welcome to the stream. It's nice that you found your way over here. 40k's picking up again. I've noticed a lot more people have started getting back into the hobby, or picking up the hobby for the first time in the the past month. It's been really quiet this year with new hobbyists and people coming into the hobby, and I'm wondering what's changed. Maybe everyone's just getting ready for the winter months of staying in. But it's picking up again, which I like to see. So welcome to the hobby and the channel. Any idea on doing a stream with a Slanesh cosplay? Probably not. Probably not. I've got an Odd Boys Big Boss I'm keeping for Orktober. Yeah, I've never really done anything for Orktober. I don't think I'm gonna make any kind of association to Orktober, but I would like to do a couple of Orc videos because it has been a while. I used to be the channel that used to do all the Orc videos. Now I'm just the guy who does all the Ultramarine videos. So it'd be good to get back to the old roots. Because the problem with doing an Orc tutorial for me is that there's so many different clans. There's no actual one clan. There's no like Ultramarines of Orcs. I know there's Goths, but you get so much variety in what people want to paint. So if I do a tutorial on, say, like Bad Moons, Elven Blah, can you do a video on Evil Sins? Can you do a video on Goss? Can you do one on Snakebites? But fortunately, I do have 2 tutorials on painting all the different clan videos already, which helps that I can reference. I haven't really painted 40k orcs this year. The only thing I've painted this year, I'll show you. I painted a bomber. Before this, I painted the Deathcopters panel. I think that was the last couple of things I painted orc-wise. So my inspiration, so I do goths. But I wanted a video, I wanted a jet sort of based on, like I wanted a silver bomber, like an American sort of bomber. This is actually converted. See, I cut off, I don't know if you can see it, you can see a bit of texture. I cut off the wing or the tail fin, so it's kind of got these like Lancaster bomber tail fins. So I was really proud of that. I was really happy with it. It's not a tough colour scheme either. I think this is just mostly rune fang steel with a bit of a dry brush, then scrag brown into the recesses. But yeah, this is the last thing I paint for my orcs, either at the end of last year or right at the beginning of this year. I've had this sitting on my shelf for probably talking close to 6 years. I just thought to myself, I'm getting it done.
I met you at Redacted. I talked about the Holy Roman Empire too much, but I subscribed like I said I would.
Are you sure you met me? I don't actually leave the house. Oh, yes. How are you doing? I remember. Good old Middlesbrough. So I've got a really bad memory. Hello. I'm glad you made it to the channel. No, I remember now. Yeah, I don't actually find myself seeing people because I don't leave the house that much. I just sit and paint miniatures. Thank you for the super chats, really appreciated, honestly. I hope you've enjoyed the content. So yeah, that's what I want to do over the next month. I don't know what I'm planning on doing for November. I need to do a couple of easy tutorials, to be honest with you. This Fire Warrior tutorial is going to be tough. I want to do an Age of Sigmar tutorial, and I want to do a Sisters of Battle tutorial. I want to do next year. You'll probably find that I'm going to start doing a lot more how to paint this faction for beginners videos. I think that's going to be a fun challenge. So if you're brand new to the hobby, I think that'll be fun. George Wright, hi, hope you are well. I am well, thank you very much. Hope you are well. It's always good that you come to the streams, it's really appreciated. Bash Crash, I'm well, thanks, it's all good. I've really been enjoying it. Good. I know you said you were just starting out. Hopefully the videos have been helping. If you've watched the videos, obviously. Just don't just take your time with it. No rush. I've been doing this for 25 years now and I'm still learning. Yeah, so the main goal, so I just want to spend the rest of this year just covering up loose ends. I'm kind of fed up with just having stuff sitting on my shelf, gathering dust. And really what I should be doing, instead of an Imperial Fist army, I should be doing my Tyranids. My orcs. If anyone's interested in what I have, projects I've got sitting on my shelf, I do have a video that I did early in the year, and it was from a live stream. But it's still valid. It hasn't really changed since then. You can see all my collection of miniatures and all the projects I'm working on, and all the stuff I've done for the channel. And it's just like showing off my miniatures. Twitch 7060 just primed my Orc Combat Patrol. Gonna start painting after lunch and picking up some super glue. Good luck. Is it the new Combat Patrol with the Beast Snaggers? That is a very good box. Very, very good box. Better than the old one. Just to those that are new, you can support the channel. You can support it obviously by liking my videos, leaving comments, it really helps. I do make a real effort to answer every comment and question I get through email and through YouTube comments, and here as well. I don't tend to deal with Instagram. You can also support through Patreon, sorry, or channel membership. And at the lowest tier, you get access to the Discord. I'm trying to get more people in there. Hopefully it'll pick up. Because I'm in there as well, and I do keep an eye on what people are up to, and you can show off your miniatures and talk to each other. I think the lowest cost to get in the Discord is like £2. And then you get access to updates, tutorials early, and very soon we'll get access to my character series, which is going to be short tutorials on demand, but they'll be available for channel members and Patreon subscribers at no extra cost. And obviously it just helps pay for the miniatures and paints and brushes and all the subscription other equipment that I need for the channel. If I had a tournament, what would you like to play? Talking about playing style or look, not if it's OP. I think I'm going to an old world tournament in October. I'll just be using my night goblins. I don't play competitive really. And if I do go, it just tends to be like what I enjoy using. I'm not like a meta chaser, or I don't think about how I can make my opponent's experience miserable. I want to go there and make sure everyone's enjoying themselves. I don't even care about winning. JB85, have you ever done any brush care videos? I clean my brushes after every session but struggle with hooking. Any tips? I'm not too sure about hooking. I think you tend to get that a lot with synthetic brushes, but I have that problem well. I don't obviously keep your brushes clean generally, with like making sure you use water. If you find your brushes do get quite bad, you can get, what I use is this brush cleaner. So it's brush soap, and this is really good. I've only ever bought one pot of this, and this is probably 8 years. I've probably had this for 8 years, and I'm only now probably coming up to needing a new one. And this is only about £6. There is links in the description to Amazon where I buy it. So yeah, it's the Masters Brush Cleaner. Links in the description. It's there, and it does a really great job of getting rid of the paint on the brush, and it's probably doubled the life expectancy of my brushes. And for the cost of one brush, it's more than made up for its cost. But I haven't. I do want to do a dedicated brush video. That's something maybe for next year. It's just I'm thinking about what I will talk about. Ryan, welcome back. George, I need to actually do some painting before I can post anything in the Discord. All of the minis shown in there are great. The Gulliman by Leaker was incredible. Yeah, he's been shown some amazing miniatures. I love the style. Even if you don't have to show finished miniatures or even miniatures at all, you can just ask questions, talk to people about what they're working on. What I might do is I'm gonna do a restructure soon, of the different tiers. At the moment, there is like a hobby hangout room in there. I did only make it available for the highest, like the heavy support, but I'm probably just going to open up to general use. But that's something I need to organise probably towards the end of the year. Oh, Stephen, did you see my movement trays I made? What I finally designed. So they're just nice and clean. You don't see the magnets. The magnets are on the bottom. I'm going to start designing more STL stuff because I've been opening up Blender and doing some work with that. I decided to let my cat in. Yeah, so if anyone is currently a channel member or in the Discord or Patreon, if you want the STL files for these movement trays, I'll send them here. I can't print them off, obviously. I don't have that. I don't have the logistics for that. But yeah, you're more than welcome. If you're a supporter currently, if you want access to those, I'm happy to send them to you, especially while I'm working on them. But I do plan on making those all available on my website by the end of the year when I've redone my website, because I want to start making my own STL files for stuff like painting handles and stuff like that. Like fun stuff. So I'm just looking where my cat is. Yeah, so for the movement trays, you can do 25mm, and then I've worked out to be like blocks. Also, like your Bretonians. Yeah, I'm probably, by the end of the year, I'll have a good selection of all the different sizes you need, because they're quite easy to sort of mock up in Blender. Give me a second. Lee. Sorry, I'm back. Ryan, don't worry about it. And Tippo, yeah, you use the same brush soap as well. Yeah, I don't think there is any other brush soap, to be honest. That's like, I remember using that in art class. Stephen, you've not had much time to paint, but you think much for painting single minis rather than batches of things. Yeah, I always said, like, I think it'll be a good approach for you to sort of look at competitive painting side of things. I think since I've started seeing your work, you've definitely improved. So I think that'd be a good approach. Do I find painting... I actually prefer painting armies. The only time I paint like individual miniatures to like a really high standard is for the channel. I love the challenge of figuring out how to paint an army-wide collection, but making it look good. So it's not like rushed or it's just done quickly. I like finding cheats and quick ways, well, not quick ways, but more cost-effective ways of doing things. I think those projects on the channel have been my favourite. So take these night goblins for example. I love the challenge of just getting these done because they're so different as well. And you look at my Imperial Fist as well. I came up with that colour scheme because I wanted to do an Imperial Fist army, but I didn't want to paint everything like everyone else paints them. So I think that's where my passion is actually army painting in a weird way. Because I like sort of back engineering, if that makes sense. So you look at some good examples of what I'm saying is if you look at our recent Thousand Suns tutorial, Corn Berserker tutorial, even the Emperor's Children tutorial, those are made with army painting in mind and not just painting to a box level standard or getting them painted as quickly as possible. It's finding that nice medium. And this custody, or the custodes, however you want to say it, was a fun challenge that I wanted to do. Was finding a way how to sort of approach painting these guys if you wanted to paint an army of them, but actually do it realistically, and then but still being able to do sort of like nice flourishes of detail like the cloak and the power sword. So it's like getting the majority of the miniature done pretty quickly, but then picking the interesting details in the miniatures and spending the time and effort painting those, I think is a good way of painting miniatures. That's like my new approach for painting. But I am actually trying to come away from painting box art level stuff as much as I have been. I certainly don't want to do it for every video. It's just hard to get away from that when showing people how to paint Space Marines. Because I don't want my Space Marine videos to be like everybody else's. But because nobody wants to paint to that level, I can get away with it. But that's why I like in the Space Marine tutorials recently, I've been giving people a choice, I suppose. That's the long answer to your question. JB85, thanks mate. Yeah, I use the same brush soap, maybe need to invest in better brushes. Like a good mid-range brush is great. Let me just... I got sent loads of brushes by Umbral because they found out I like to paint airfix stuff. These are they? Umbral Coloro were a bit of a surprise. These are really good. I think they're synthetic brushes as well. I think like these red ones here are good for these aren't like amazing quality ones, but these are great for doing like washes and dry brushes and stuff, and technique brushes. These detail brushes are good. I've got some Winsor & Newton foundation brushes are good. There's also another series of Winsor & Newton brushes. They're like teal coloured. I can't remember the name of the brand for those, but Winsor & Newton do a good selection of different priced different brushes. It's not just series. I know everyone talks about the Series 7, but if you look at Winsor & Newton's other paintbrush ranges, there's more cheaper brushes. I just obviously exclusively use Citadel products for the videos because it matches the Warhammer. They're designed to work together. But usually, if you're spending about £5 or £6 on a brush, that's about the right, I would say about the right amount. There's just something about movement trays that feels special. Yeah, it just organises everything. And for such a large collection of miniatures, it just keeps everything organised. I've got some of there was a time where for 40k you could get like the clear plastic movement trays for like large units. I've got loads of those, my orcs, when I used to do like units of 30 of them. You should only run orcs in units of 10 now, by the way, in trucks. Rausal, welcome to the stream. I always worry I say your name wrong. I'm not very good with accents. Too British. It's interesting that you like army painting so much but don't get a chance to do videos around that. I guess it does get expensive quickly. I don't think it does get expensive, but I could do a unit like with this Fire Warrior unit I'm doing for next Sunday. For some reason I chose to do it to box level, but that's because I did the Battlesuit Commander sort of box level. I think a lot more work goes into trying to figure out how to paint an army than it does like one miniature. But you'll find that next year I want to do more how to paint factions generally videos. So kind of like because I originally did like how to paint Necrons and Space Marines for beginners for, I think it was 9th edition. So I kind of want to make more videos like that. I definitely think that's how I'm going to have to approach doing Age of Sigmar stuff, just because the Age of Sigmar stuff doesn't get much traction. Yeah, the Old World Gobbo's army is one of my favourite videos I've done. That's why I want to do the Tomb King's army in January. And I definitely want to do more videos like that. Especially when it comes to painting my own armies. I want to hopefully do a video showcase from it. I'm hoping to do a video for my Imperial Fist army as I paint them and finish them. Nathan Vanderberg, love those golden boys. Yeah, the fact that it was so like really straightforward to paint, and it's just very tempting to then go away and paint an army of these. But then you're like, there's other priorities. So I still want to do an Eldari army for myself, which is going to be next year's project after the Imperial Fists and Tyranids, maybe next Christmas. Oh, you're working on the Stodes now. You'd have to, when you've done them, send some pictures, because I'd love to see like an army-wide, a finished army using my tutorials. And Tippo, thank you very much for being around in the stream. a bit of everything. Hey man, love your work. Recently got back into the hobby. I'm working on orcs. My eldest on blood angels, my youngest on tyranids. Keep up the great content. Thank you very much. It's great. I love being told about how families are sort of all enjoying the hobby together and watching my videos. It really hits me in the feels. Yeah, I love making these tutorials, and it pushes my skills. Because I don't necessarily, because I think at the level I paint stuff now, I think the next level for me would be to paint the competition level, and I don't necessarily want to go that route or route, because that's not what I really enjoy. I love painting and collecting, but that's why I'm kind of going backwards now. I'm more sort of thinking about painting armies. I think that's where my interest is at the minute, because I've never really been able to finish painting armies in the past. But I think that's where my interest lies now, because I want to start having collections of miniatures. I think that's where the evolution of the channel is going to go. I think that's what I want to make, sort of like the tabletop standard. When people say tabletop ready, I suppose. What time are we on? 20, streaming for 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's 9:15. I'm starting to lose my voice. So I think we're going to finish it there, everybody. It's been a fun stream again, lots of questions and engagement. I always love these questions. The big questions for tonight were definitely about fundamentals and the basics. So if you go into the description of any of my videos, including the live streams and this live stream, there's links to both the videos for how to thin your paints and the how to get better at highlighting. Both of those videos cover, if you're not absolutely brand new to the hobby, those two videos cover really what I think everybody should be working on to level up. If they're looking to improve their miniature painting, those are the two videos that are going to help you do it. It's a general sort of approach to the hobby. If you are just brand new to the hobby, go watch my how to start painting miniatures video as well. But those three videos, you can hit the ground running. I stand by those three videos. That's why I made them. Because they'll literally cover everything that I did to improve my miniature painting. That I felt helped me level up. So if you haven't watched them, please go watch them. The Trans Travel the Globe. Your Leagues of Votan tutorial is fantastic. Do you have any plans on doing videos with the other leagues? Looking forward to the shock attack gun video. For the Leagues of Votan, I probably won't do any of the colour schemes. My goal was always to do a tutorial to cover each faction, and it always depends on how well that video does if I'm gonna expand. Unfortunately, the Leagues of Votan video wasn't so popular. It might be in the future, but even with a new release happening right now, it's still not been very popular. So I'm probably not going to. I feel like the box art colour scheme was the main one to get out there, because it's not, nobody else has done it. there's a lot of people who paint Leagues of Otan in their own sort of colour schemes, because I feel like they struggle to sort of come up with a way to paint the box art one, because it is quite a weird colour scheme to paint. But never say never. I did enjoy painting the Leagues of Otan stuff. It's like the Gene Stealer cult video with the jackals. I loved that painting tutorials. It's one of my absolute favourites. But it's still, people still don't watch it. Which is unfortunate, because I had plans to do more. But who knows, maybe. Whereas something like the Thousand Suns video did amazingly well. And it's still one that has a lot of traction. So that's one I'll probably do. That's why I want to do Magnus. And I'll probably end up doing some Zangors as well for a video. So you kind of get a lot of the bases covered. I'm definitely going to do an Araman video. That's because the basic video did quite well. So I know there's an audience for that. But unfortunately there isn't for Leagues of Otan. But all I can say is, if you watch a lot of my Space Marine chapter videos, there's a lot of different armor types and colours in those videos that you can apply to Leagues of Otan. They're very similar in the way they're painted. Thanks for the stream, keep up the good work. Thank you very much, I really appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. Peter de Houldreyer, greetings from Holland. Hello and see ya. Right everybody, I'm lagging now. My frames per second is getting lower. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. Another fun stream. I look forward to this every time, and it's just a great opportunity just to sort of interact with you guys, as I always say, and answering your questions rather than me just being a guy in the painting videos. You can see how ADHD I am. I can't sit still. So in 2 weeks time, a subscriber showcase is planned. Send your pictures into my email, which is contact@tabletоpready.co.uk. The email address does now work. Even if the miniatures aren't finished, if you feel like you just want to show off what you're working on, please do. As I say, what I'll pick for this stream, I want a variety. But if I am going to use it in the stream, I will let you know that I am. And if I don't, I'll still reply and give you some feedback, or tell you what I like about the miniatures. Halgis, man, painting those Zangors was an absolute chore. 1k Suns are fun, but I've still a few to finish off. Yeah, as I was saying to Stephen, I think I like the challenge and the idea of painting Zangors, and how I would approach it to paint an army without seeming like a chore. There's definitely got to be a way. I'll probably do the Zangors when I do Magnus, probably in February at this rate. February, March time. But yeah, thank you everyone. I will put out posts on the community posts to remind everybody about sending images and stuff, and what email address. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Remember, next Sunday is the Fire Warriors tutorial. Make sure to go and watch that. And make sure to go and watch all my other tutorials I have on the channel already. Until then. Right. Thank you everyone. It's been fun. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.